views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hola everyone, welcome to Open BxRx Remote, brought to you from my living workspace, Cherry Executive Suite. I'm Rhina Valentin, your hosty Café con Leche every Friday. Here's what's coming up in today's show. Leading things off, we'll learn about Rocking the Boat, a free community program that includes everything from rowing, sailing, and bird watching for all to enjoy. After that, we'll find out about Casita Maria Center for Arts and Education, BronX BandA Concert, featuring Arturo O'Farrill and musicians from the New York Philharmonic for this year's South Bronx Culture Trail Festival. Then we'll see what's in store for Bomba Live 2, a virtual celebration of Puerto Rican culture, pioneers, and leaders. Later on in the show, Bobby C brings us an up-to-date with the latest headlines in the world of sports. And lastly, we'll learn about Pepatián's upcoming 3-part video presentation entitled Sharing The Same Cielo, showcasing Latinx dance, film, and spoken word artists from the Bronx. We'll even get a sneak peek performance at the end of the show. So sit back y prepárate. All this and more is headed your way, because now we are officially open. To Open, I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche for the next hour, encouraging you to get social with us online. Tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, while you're there, you can follow me on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So the weather is finally warming up, and if you're looking for a unique adventure right in our very own backyard, well, Rocking the Boat is giving Bronx residents an opportunity to experience the Bronx River with its free community rowing and sailing and birding program. The organization is known for its youth development through wooden boat building and sailing. And joining us to tell us more, we welcome Rocking the Boat Director of Public Programs, Safia Sabir, and Sailing Job Skills Program Director, McKinley Glass. Hello and welcome.
Hello.
You guys must be in your glory, being back in season.
Yeah, we're really excited to get started and get community rowing back up again.
That's lovely. And so let's just give everybody a little background on the history of Rocking the Boat.
So Rocking the Boat in 1996 from Adam Green. He started volunteer work at a high school where they built a wooden rowboat, and I guess after that, it just kind of, things just started growing.
Yeah, we've actually watched it evolve, and it's really an amazing program. And so before we get into all the programming, which is your department, McKinley, Sophia, why don't we just share with our viewers exactly what's in store that's accessible and free to our community?
Absolutely. So starting last weekend, we have community rowing, so open to the public, all ages, and hopefully abilities as well. We'll do our best to accommodate everyone. But yeah, come down to Hunters Point Riverside Park at the end of Lafayette Avenue, and you can come rowing with us. I will have a team of Rocking the Boat alumni who are now also working for us, and they'll be rowing you out on the Bronx River, talking to you about the wildlife that you can find there, and they're gonna be really awesome, and I can't wait to invite everyone, to welcome everyone.
So how long is the ride? How long is the ride, and how far do they ride in the Bronx River? Along the Bronx River, I should say.
Yeah, it's about, each ride is about 20 minutes, depending on the day. And we go, it's not even a mile, I would say maybe like a quarter mile out towards the East River and then back to our dock at Rocking the Boat.
And so you mentioned the alumni and McKinley, excuse me. You mentioned that, well, since you are actually the program director, how many individuals have gone through your hands, and where do you start them at, and where do most of them end up?
Oh, that's a tough question. So I just started being the job skills director, but I worked as a program assistant for a long time. And I've seen generations and generations of people just go. And even in the sailing program, like not everyone wants to grow up and work as a sailor or like work doing sailing. Some people like to do it as a hobby. So you got people going to all different colleges, not only colleges where it's like sailing only and just water stuff, because we got people that want to build cars like mechanics, but they like sailing as well. So it's a variety.
Right. Well, congratulations on your promotion. And it's lovely to grow inside of an environment that you've been developing in yourself, right? Because from what I understand, the skill set that a lot of people leave with is carpentry, boat handling, navigating, chart reading, sailing, of course. So, and then I also understand you offer assistance with completing high school, assistance with college. I mean, the whole thing is just a wonderful program for as an alternative to, I guess, going away to camp, right? Because it's right here in the Bronx. So,
I agree.
Yeah, so the camp that you do offer, which is called Sailing Camp, is that an entire summer program?
It's we're running 3 2-week sessions starting, I believe it's July 12th through mid-August. So not the whole summer, yeah, mid-July to about mid-August.
Okay, and so what's that process like? What's the age bracket, and how many people are allotted, and what do people have to register? Is it an arrangement with a school?
We do have registration online. You can find that on our website, rockingtheboat.org, and we are accepting rising 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. So middle schoolers students going into middle school in the fall, and we're doing it's just a half day, but yeah, you'll get to do sailing, and we'll definitely have some educational programs as well.
And so, McKinney, when you're not teaching, are you a skipper? Is that the proper term?
Yeah, skipper, captain. I'm actually working towards getting my captain's license. And if I do get it and I get a boat, I'm gonna be right at that dock taking people out because I got my license. So Rocking the Boat might have some competition. But yeah, I do a lot on my free time. I don't only sail.
So, I have to ask you this question. Had you not come across Rocking the Boat, do you think you would ever have thought to have a career on just working on the water, right? Because once you get your license, you can go work for like water taxi, you can work for the Staten Island Ferry. So I'm just out of curiosity, is this the direction you saw yourself going in?
Well, I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, and then when I moved up here to the Bronx, I moved to Hunts Point right up the block. And they came to my school, actually. Back in the day, we did more like school visits. Now everything's online. And I was like, oh, I got to try this. And so now I wouldn't think I would have been in the water. I don't even think I'll be in New York.
But you're here, right? And you're still here. And
I made it.
Yeah, exactly. We all made it. And it's just fascinating to have classrooms on the water, on water classroom. What a great concept.
Yeah, New York City is a city of water. So, I don't think people always realize that driving around and walking around, but we've got water all around us. And
then there's the consideration for the actual Bronx River. I know you guys have really assisted in cleaning up that river a lot.
Absolutely.
So what do you want people to leave with that are probably just learning about this and finding out about it?
Well, I would like to first thing everyone wants to say is, oh, that water's dirty. I would like them to come down, see the water. You can even test the water. We'll let you test it during community rowing and see for yourself if the water's dirty or not. Just come out and test the waters.
And so before we go, really quickly, Safia, do people need to register to participate in the rowing and sailing and birding program?
No need to register for community rowing. We're every Saturday through September 4th, and 1 to 6 p.m. You don't have to register. If you do have a group, 10 or larger, yes, then you can send an email to publicprograms@rockingtheboat.org. But anyone else fewer than that, please just bring yourselves, bring your friends, bring your family, and come rowing with us.
And a side note, I'll add, they have barbecues in the park. So if you come early, you can have a whole barbecue in front, like you got boats with your barbecue.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you for taking the time to present it to our viewers. You guys, once again, to sign up for the free community rowing and sailing and birding program, all you got to do is visit rockingtheboat.org. All right, we got to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll hear about an upcoming concert you don't want to miss. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. It's that time of the year again. Casita Maria Center for Arts and Education's 10th annual South Bronx Culture Trail Festival, celebrating culture, communities, and the history of the South Bronx. Well, this year, the Latin jazz ensemble BronX BandA, featuring Arturo O'Farrill and musicians from the New York Philharmonic, will headline the event. And joining us to share more, we welcome Casita Maria, Director of Creative Programs, Gail Heidel. Hello, Gail.
Hi, Rhina. Thank you for having me on today.
Yay! South Bronx Culture Trail Festival, time of the year. It's one of my favorite festivals, actually. So I'm excited to have you. And I'm so excited to know that it's still happening, because I know the pandemic has really pivoted a lot of events and functions. But I got to say, it was lovely to participate in the couple of weeks ago, the event that you partnered up with the New York Philharmonic. So let's just share with everyone this new collaboration that's been occurring. It's lovely.
I know we're really thrilled to be partnering with the New York Philharmonic. They're a historic organization just like Casita Maria. And the partnership, started because they were teaching in our education program and working with elementary and middle school youth through their Very Young Composers program. And then last fall, they asked us if we wanted to participate in Bandwagon One, where we would host their pickup truck, where they would have, 3 or 4 violinists and Anthony Constanzo sing. And they would just, it was a pop-up performance. They'd pull up the truck within 15 minutes. The musicians are playing. We had it happen when BizWa, Bronx Studio School for Writers and Artists, were dismissing for the day. And they were serenaded, by this beautiful music. And I really feel like this partnership is right now so important because it's bringing healing to the community. So a couple of weeks ago, we participated in Bandwagon 2. They selected Casita Maria to be a community member in the Bronx to help them, navigate through the best location to be able to host the event. We held it in Father Gigante Plaza, which is in front of St. Athanasius Church, and we worked with Sebco Inc., who loaned us the space. And it was really interesting. They totally upgraded from a pickup truck to this 20-foot shipping container that had an LED screen and a sound system. And we had BronX BandA, which is a nine-piece jazz ensemble, perform with Bronxite and tap dancer Ayadeli Casal. And Rhina, you were there as our host, our MC for the whole weekend. It was just such a special event. And it really was like a harbinger, I feel like, for all the summer festivals that are coming up, that we can gather safely. Performers can perform, without their masks on because we're all vaccinated in the ensemble. Right. And everybody was socially distanced in the audience. And it was a really, really magical moment.
It was even for me. I mean, it was emotional. And I got to just say and add on to that, to experience the fusion of the New York Philharmonic with like cultural music such as the Afrigarifuna, and to also experience Juana Luna's like boleros mixed with the New York Philharmonic. And of course, now we're going to see BronX BandA do that together with the New York Philharmonic. It's really a sight for sore eyes, and an experience that I think we should all take the time to just dive into. And as I mentioned on stage, you know, music is the universal language of the soul, and to be together in a space after not being in each other's presence for over a year was really extremely, I can't say it enough, magical, just as you said.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, it was an amazing 3 days. And another thing that was really great about the weekend of performance was just the fusion of all the artists together, and also all of the Bronx community organizations. We had Bronx Arts Ensemble, Bronx Music Heritage Center, Upbeat New York City. So all these, you know, Bronx organizations, you know, working together and coming together to, you know, be able to present something for the community was just, it was really magical.
And we can't leave out Grand Wizard Theodore, because, you know, he had just broken ground over for the Universal Hip Hop Museum. And then the next day, because he presented on Saturday, he was there with Showtime NYC, scratching the wax and then performing and having battles. It was just amazing.
Mm-hmm, for sure, for sure. So yes, so now we're gearing up for June 5th. Our partnership continues. So we'll be performing with 15 musicians from the New York Philharmonic. We commissioned Arturo O'Farrill, who's the band leader for BronX BandA, and who Petita Maria has been partnering with since 2012 on this project. We commissioned him to take 3 of the compositions that the ensemble wrote during the pandemic and then create string arrangements for them. So this will be our first time performing with the New York Philharmonic string section, and being able to, you know, bring these 3 pieces to the public. So it'll be a full 2-hour performance. The first hour will just be BronX BandA. Then we'll take a short break, and there'll be a 15-minute performance by just the New York Philharmonic musicians. And then we'll all join together for 30 minutes of both BronX BandA and the New York Philharmonic musicians to perform these 3 compositions that I mentioned. And it'll be broadcasted on BronxNet and also live streamed on Petita Maria BX on Facebook. So there's lots of ways to experience it. You can come in person, you can watch it on BronxNet, and you can also watch it on Facebook.
And as far as like being an active audience participant, is there a registration? I mean, what are the regulations with being an audience member? Because I know that there's also limitations.
Yeah, I know it's allowed that we can have 500 people through New York State, but I believe we're only going to be able to fit 200 people socially distanced inside Playground 52, which is, you can enter near 950 Avenue St. John in the Bronx. We're asking that people register in advance. If you want to just go to petitamaria.org, there'll be a pop-up as soon as you get on the website that'll invite you to look at the South Bronx Culture Trail page, and then you can navigate to June 5th to be able to register there. Or if you have a pen and paper and you just want to go to our bit.ly link, it would be bit.ly/SBCT June 5. So there's a couple of different ways, or you can just go to our Facebook page, you know, and I'm sure the top stories are going to be how to, you know, attend this performance as well. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible, but you can, you know, register in advance. You can register for as many tickets as you want. We'll see everybody socially distanced in the audience. And if you're not vaccinated, we would just ask that you wear a mask, you know, because the title of the festival this year is Together Again. So we really want to be together again at this event.
Wonderful, and thank you for bringing it here to our audience. And you guys, once again, the BronX BandA featuring Arturo O'Farrill and the musicians from the New York Philharmonic will perform on Saturday, June 5th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And that's happening at Playground 52, located at 950 Avenue Street, St. John's, excuse me. And for more information and for tickets, because you should register, you can visit casitamaria.org. All right, don't go anywhere. We have more when we return. Welcome back. So Bomba Live 2, that is coming up soon. It's an all-star virtual event celebrating Puerto Rican culture and honoring Puerto Rican pioneers. The programming also spotlights ongoing issues impacting the Puerto Rican community on the island and throughout the diaspora. This year's theme for Bomba Live 2 is combating domestic violence. And joining us to tell us more, we welcome Bomba Live executive producer and founder, Rafael Collazo. Hello, Rafael. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Rhina. It's such an honor to be in your program to talk about this very special project that you're going to have a very big role in, and we'll talk about in a moment. But Bomba Live 2 is coming Saturday, June 12th, and just very excited to talk about it with your listeners today.
So, let's first introduce everybody to, I guess, its origins, because this is the second year you're doing it, and it started last year during the pandemic, right? Based on the pandemic. So let's talk about, this particular event. Let's talk about why you felt the need to, I guess, bring it back even bigger and more, you've got an all-star lineup in this particular edition.
For sure. So, last year around this time, as you all know, unfortunately, all of our lives got put on hold on some level, but particularly, our cultural celebrations, the iconic New York Puerto Rican Day Parade was canceled, at least in physical form, and all of our cultural events throughout the diaspora and on the island, all of our fiesta patronales were canceled or delayed. And so I felt compelled to not only have a virtual event for Puerto Ricans and, having parties and having a couple people sing is kind of the easy thing for us, right? But to really show a true representation of our community, not only our talent, which is sort of the obvious thing, but our character and our perseverance as a culture. And so Bomba Live 1 was historic, featuring Bernie Williams, Frankie Negron, 2019 La Voz winner Jenny Marrios, some of the freestyle legends that are returning. And so we wanted to send a very clear message that even though the pandemic is winding down, we felt this need to continue Bomba Live 2 because the advantage of using these platforms is not just the people that are able to make it to Central Park on a June weekend can participate in really a global celebration of the Puerto Rican community.
It is a global celebration because everybody can tune in, and not only tune in, but the people who are participating are all over the United States and on the island. I'm looking forward to sharing my experience thus far with my rehearsal process. But before we do that, let's just share with everyone who's involved in this year's Bomba Live 2.
Absolutely. So, and this is just the partial list. We have other names coming up. We encourage people to check out bombalive.co for more information on upcoming announcements of other special guests and celebrity appearances. But just the initial lineup that was announced recently includes Betty D from the legendary freestyle group Sweet Sensation. She's one of the producers of our primetime show, and she's really brought together a collection of freestyle legends that are going to be a centerpiece of our show. People like Brenda K. Starr, that people are very familiar with, K7, Daphne Rubin Vega, who people know from Rent, who was a freestyle singer back in the days.
Yeah, but not only that, we got to talk about her being in the movie In the Heights.
Absolutely. No, In the Heights is a centerpiece of this celebration. Not only is Daphne making an appearance, of course, one of the stars in the cast, but we are awarding the screenwriter for In the Heights, Kiara Alegria Judas, a hometown girl from my hometown of Philadelphia, for one of the awardees. So really all of the different areas where we're involved in the arts, J.W. Cortez, the celebrated actor, is going to be the co-host along with Betty D of the primetime show. We're going to have other people that represent the arts, including you, Rhina. So a lot of people that really represent us, not only sort of in the arts, but represent us with their character and their talents and
as well as community leaders, as well as, because aren't we
right.
honoring Dr. Marta Moreno Vega?
Absolutely. Marta Moreno Vega is also one of the community leaders. We're going to, someone that really, last year, I know we talked about how this year's theme is to really address, to combat, eradicate domestic violence in Puerto Rican communities from the island to the diaspora. Last year's theme was around addressing racism within our own community, obviously this being around the first year anniversary of George Floyd's tragic death. And so Marta Moreno, we want to continue that conversation in our community. Who better but to have the iconic Marta Moreno Vega, really the pioneer of the discussion around colorism and celebrating Afro-Puerto Ricanness in the New York and Puerto Rican community and throughout the diaspora.
And so now we can talk about my fabulous directorial exploration with the death of Cocotazo.
Yes, the death of Cocotazo. So we have a group of what I call affectionately the Boricua social media all-stars. These are people, the next generation of celebrities, talents, people, and I know all of y'all follow these people: Funky Bacalao, Denito, Dean Huertas, Jersey Rican, just an incredible group of TikTok, Instagram, and social media stars that produce a lot of content that really connects, particularly with the Puerto Rican community. So they wanted to do something, and I wanted to do something to celebrate and kind of take their artistry to the next level. So we're doing an authentic, organic Puerto Rican novela, taking a classic template and giving a modern Boricua twist to it. So we were able to secure your services, Rhina, as the director of this masterpiece that's going to be aired for the first time ever during Bomba Live 2. And I also want to give a shout out to one of your recent guests, Ivelisse Rodriguez, just a rising figure in literature, and as a Puerto Rican woman needs really more recognition. And I hope this is a platform for her, for people to get more to know about her artistry and her great talents in the literature space. So a collection of true Boricua all-stars in the arts.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, the piece was brilliantly written, which made my job a lot more fun. The cast is very, very colorful, to say the least. And the concept is brilliant because while it is a novela, we're doing it virtual style, and some of the cast members, again, some are in Philadelphia, some are in Puerto Rico, some are in Florida, and I believe Ivelisse is in Ohio, is it? No, or maybe she's in North Carolina. I don't know. All I know is that it's been a really wonderful experience.
She's Puerto Rican. She always moves, and I don't know where she's at. Yeah, she's in the Carolinas right now. But
she's in the Carolinas, right?
I've loved the spirit of it. People are really going to enjoy the show.
I think so too. And so just to give you a little bit more, the idea is that this event is going to be an all-day event. So let's talk about the hours in which people can participate in the prime time versus the award show and the after party, and then how the novela is going to be excerpts within a continuation story throughout the entire event.
Absolutely. So Saturday, June 12th, it doesn't matter if you're on a beach, you're at home, you're barbecuing, you just log into bombalive.co. Get your virtual ticket, because you're not only going to have, you're going to have a virtual from 2 to 7 is a virtual conference, is a virtual festival. So we're going to have multiple stages with panel discussions, musical performances, and, celebrity interviews and really thoughtful, fun conversations about issues impacting our community. So that's from 2 to 7. 7 to 10 is the primetime award show, where we're going to award, wanted to make sure we mention not only who this is receiving an award, but the iconic hip hop legend, Babito Garcia. Will also be receiving an award that day, who's obviously a great son of New York City. And so that's from 7 to 10. That's where you're going to see the freestyle legends, J.W. Cortez, some other great musical performances we're going to be announcing in the coming days. And then from 10 to midnight, we're going to have 3 virtual stages of music. So the music that Puerto Ricans have birthed and really fostered around the world, a salsa tropical dance room, a reggaeton música urbana room, and a freestyle room. So get your dancing shoes on. We're going to have a lot of fun. An all-day celebration to raise awareness and raise funds for domestic violence organizations in Puerto Rico and on the mainland.
Well, celebrating la cultura. And again, you can get your tickets at Bomba live.co. And I do want to shout out Albert, because Albert is my partner
Yes.
in this whole novela production, and he's been the technical director. And I'm telling you, you guys are going to have a really good time. So I know we all may be a little zoomed out, but even if it's just in the background, we highly encourage you to join in. You won't be disappointed.
No, and what I wanted to share with people is one of the things you're going to be so impressed by is the diversity. We're going to have Puerto Ricans doing ballet performances. We're going to have yogis. We're going to have intellectual scientists. We're giving another award I wanted to shout out, Roselyn Rosario Melendez. She is an inventor and chemist. This is a young Puerto Rican woman, Rhina, that has 25 patents for beauty products, and including one of the biggest selling lipsticks in the world right now. So, and this is a very young person that is, that has made an incredible mark in the sciences. So we're going to be really highlighting a very diverse group of people that all share one thing in common, that they want to represent for their community with character and perseverance.
Que viva la raza puertorriqueña. Thanks for being with us, Rafael Collazo. All right, you guys, once again, for more on Bomba Live and to participate, it's taking place on Saturday, June 13th. No, I'm sorry, it's June 12th. June 12th. And to get tickets for the event, you can visit bombalive.co. All right, don't go anywhere. Bobby C's Weekly Sports Roundup is coming up next.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at bronxnet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
Joined this morning by 1991 Major League Baseball All-Star, former Met, and arguably the greatest pitcher in Fordham history, Pete Harnisch. Pete, how's it going? Good morning. Great to see you.
I want everybody to know I didn't pay you for that introduction right there. And I'm not claiming to be the greatest anything ever, but thanks for that.
Well, I think you are. Definitely based on stats and your career, and obviously having a great Major League career. It's great to have you here on the show. How are you keeping busy these days?
Finding our way. I got my sons playing at Fordham, and my other guy is in high school. So I get to see a lot of baseball. We got a dog recently, so first time, which is awesome. He's like my best friend. So I spent some time with him, and I make it work.
Yeah, that's actually where I wanted to kind of lead off the conversation, because I thought it would be great to speak about the fact that the Harnisch name is, still living strong at Fordham in the Bronx, and Jack is an infielder with the team, with the Rams, and was hoping that you could give us a pro scouting report on your son.
First of all, really, really proud of him. He was kind of a late bloomer in high school. He as a sophomore in high school, he was on the varsity, but he played probably 50 to 60% of the games. He wasn't a full-time starter. And he wound up being All-State, New Jersey All-State second baseman as a senior. So he's gotten better every year. He's gone to Fordham and gotten better every year. Went there, with a roster spot or whatever, and has really made a real impact on the program. He's playing almost every game now. He's a pro defender, my son. Swings the bat really good. Needs to develop a little more power. He's a plus runner, not a burner, but he's above average runner. Really good. Can play second, can play third, can play short if you had to have him play short. But he's good contact player, knows the strike zone well, knows how to play the game. My son's a ball player, so he's made quite an impact. So it's I'm really, really proud of him for digging in and fighting it out and getting to the point where he's got to.
I wanted to put the stats out there because, again, I do think that you are the best to ever play there. 21-3 career record at Fordham, 2.29 ERA, first-round pick for the Orioles in 1987. And, looking back on that incredible career that you had at Fordham, is there one memory that stands out?
Yeah, probably the Georgia game, playing the University of Georgia in the regional. Back then it was a little bit different. Now they do the regional and then the super regional. We had 8. There was we won the ECAC tournament to get into the regional at Georgia Tech, who was the host team. And we had Georgia Tech, who was, I believe, 3 or 4 in the country. Georgia was 4 or 5 in the country, and Michigan was 7 in the country ahead of us. And it was us and Ryder and Dartmouth were the other teams. Double elimination, 6 teams. After 2 days, we were the only team 2-0. But I pitched the first game. We played great. We played great as a team, first of all. I pitched against Derek Lilliquist, who's now the pitching coach. I think he's the pitching coach for the Braves now. I don't know. He was with the Cardinals for a long time. And Chris Carpenter, who was a punter and a reliever for the Cardinals, both first-round selections that year. There was a ton of pitching. Mike Remlinger was in that region. Jim Abbott was in that region. So we had quite a few. It was a loaded pitching group, but we wound up beating them. I think 5-2 or 5-3 in game 1. And after 2 days, we're the only 2-0 team, and we were looking good. And we wound up losing the championship game of the regional to go to Georgia in the rematch. But it was very, very one game from the College World Series, which I don't know how many times that's ever going to happen again.
And like I mentioned too, I think it's pretty cool that your pitching coach from those Fordham days actually also pitched in the majors with the Mets, and he was the guy that you seem to credit with kind of helping your velocity, because you were throwing in the mid-80s, end up playing JV baseball, and then kind of late bloomer varsity baseball, and then by the time you were at Fordham, you're throwing in the mid-90s.
Yeah, again, my son and I took the same physical track. I was a late bloomer. I really wasn't recruited in high school. I was a good high school pitcher. I didn't pitch till 11th grade. I was a catcher, third baseman, center fielder. So I started pitching my junior year. But yeah, Mike Brewer was an unbelievable influence in my life. Unbelievable knowledge, pitching mechanics, pitching philosophy, everything that I needed to stress to get better. When I got to Fordham, in high school, I think I threw 86, 87. That's on the old guns. So it's a little bit different, but I think my first 90-mile-an-hour pitch was my spring of my freshman year. And then when I left, I was probably 93, 94 regularly, 92 to 94. So yeah, I physically developed. He helped me so much with my delivery and everything else. He was him and Dan Gallagher were by far my two biggest assets as far as my career path.
It didn't take you long really to hit the ground running in the majors. I mean, by 1991, you're an all-star in the league, still very early in your career. And this is after getting traded to Houston, along with 2 pretty good names in Kurt Schilling and Steve Finley. And you get named an all-star for a kid that grew up on Long Island and really did not find himself until college baseball. How did that feel?
It's pretty funny. I tell people all the time, they assume that, I pitched in the major leagues as long as I did, and I made the all-star game. And, I tell people all the time, they ask me about my career, especially players that I work with. I worked in professional baseball for the last 11 years. This is the first year I haven't worked in 12 years. So the players all want to know about you, the young kids I work with and everything like that. I tell them I didn't suck and I wasn't a Hall of Famer. I was somewhere between in there. So I consider myself a pretty good major league pitcher for a pretty long time. But I also tell them I played JV baseball in 10th grade, and they can't believe that, because that's not really the path most people take any longer. So, but yeah, I played JV in 10th grade. I didn't play varsity. I didn't make the varsity team. And but like I said, people mature at different rates, and everybody's path is a little bit different,
I think that 1991 year is definitely a very special one for you. You actually end up, I thought it was cool, with that immaculate inning later in the season, striking out 3 batters on 9 pitches in 1 inning. But your best statistical season, and for those fans that go to check you out on Baseball Reference, actually comes in 1993. You go 16-9 that season with a 2.98 ERA, 185 strikeouts. You end up tying with Jack McDowell for MLB lead with 4 shutouts. Lead the National League for a second time with a .214 batting average against. Real impressive numbers. You would go on to win 14 games in 98 and 16 again in 99, but was that 1993 season the best that you've ever felt on the mound in the big leagues?
It's hard to differentiate between, obviously some years, and that's the case is now, except for very few guys, Jacob deGroms of the world. He seems like he's unhittable every single year. But yeah, there's different stages of peaks and valleys, and how many peaks against how many valleys, which every year you have both. So it's hard to differentiate the good years. I feel like 91 was probably the best year I've ever thrown, even though, funny story, I didn't know this at the time, but I got to the All-Star game and they were talking to me about my record. because I was 5-7 at the All-Star break season. You know, I think I had a 1.6 something ERA. I might have been leading the National League in ERA. I'm not sure about that, but I was close. If not, I was sub-2 ERA. And Lupinella was great. He took me on the team, even with a 5-7 record or whatever. But at the All-Star break, I had started 6 games, and the final score of the game was 1-0. So it was 2 shutouts, 2 1-0 shutouts that I won, 2 1-0 losses that I lost, and 2 other games that I came out with no decisions in 0-0 games that ended 1-0. And you think about that, and it's kind of like I had no idea actually, and the reporter brought it up to me, and I was like, wow, 6. I only had maybe 17, 18 starts. A third of my starts, the final score of the game was 1-0. You don't see 1-0 games in the big leagues anymore. I mean, a few more now because the way the game is played. But it was interesting. I really feel like, I honestly, the way I pitched that first half of the season, I really could have been like 10-1 or 10-2. You know.
Such a different era too, because obviously you threw so many complete games and complete game shutouts as well. Yeah, totally different. It's a bullpen game now. All the teams that win now in the big leagues, that win the championships and get in the playoffs, they all have. We had one guy when I first started. It was your job to throw 8 innings and get to the closer. Then it became, not too long after that, it became, okay, now there's setup guys in the game. So it became your job to get 7 innings and get to the setup guy. Now it's, they throw 5 or 6 innings and they feel like they've done a good job. And there's 3 or 4, there's 2 lefties for the 6th and 7th or matchups. And there's 2 righties. So everybody has 3 or 4 guys now to finish games. So I know you grew up a Yankee fan, but how was it getting an opportunity to come home to New York and play for the Mets in 1995? Oh, really great. It was a lot of fun to be home all the time. I did a lot of commuting. I stayed in the city some, a day game after night game or whatever. I'd stay in a hotel, but generally night game. I was driving back and forth. I live in Monmouth County. At the time I was living in Howell, New Jersey, in Monmouth County. And I got it down to just about an hour on the head, just I could make it an hour after the game. During the day, it was about an hour and a half. But I got my routine. I'd leave at 12:30, get there at 2:00-ish, have a little lunch at the park, and then we'd start up about 3:30 or whatever. Pitcher's batting practice, which I hated, but it was part of my routine. It was nice to be in my own bed a lot and see a lot of family regularly. That was part 1 of our interview with former New York Mets pitcher Pete Harnisch. Tune in next Monday for part 2.
Welcome back. So Pepatián, Bronx Arts ColLABorative, in collaboration with Hosto Center for Arts and Culture, has created a video series entitled Sharing the Same Cielo. The project includes the works of Latinx dance, film, and spoken word artists from the Bronx, while also offering the artists a way to focus on working together even through physical distancing. Joining us to tell us more, please welcome visual artist Linda Bonilla and dance artist Alicia Diaz and Rockefeller. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hi. Hello.
How are you?
Good, good. Oh my goodness. So this is super exciting. The whole project sounds like really, really, really fascinating. And I love the concept of just really figuring out how to work collaboratively, even though we're set apart. And so, but I want to just introduce the audience a little bit more of the background, right? Because I understand you, Alicia, are one of the lead directors of the Dancing La Botánica, La Tierra Vive, which is a section that lives inside of the Sharing the Same Cielo. So can you give us insight into the dance department, and then I'll speak to Linda about the visual department, and of course, Rockefeller, your contributions as a dancer and a choreographer. Pero Alicia, the floor is yours.
Yay, thank you. And again, thank you so much for having us here. We're so happy. So I'll give maybe like a little background of Dancing La Botánica, which, as you said, is an initiative of Pepatián. that is led by Jane Gabriels, and it's an organization that has been in the Bronx since 1983. It was founded originally by Merian Soto, whom we'll talk about a little bit later as well. So Dancing La Botánica, La Tierra Vive is an initiative that we started in Pepatián in 2019. And as you said so beautifully in the introduction, was conceived as a space to create a support and a platform for artists, dance artists, visual artists, and others. At the beginning, there was a musician as well, to be together, especially, right? And this was before the pandemic, right? But to create a space where we could be with each other and in a very process-oriented platform. So this wasn't an initiative that put product over everything else. It really was a space for us to be able to get to know each other better and truly to form a collective. And in that space, there's been throughout these 2 years, we were able to meet. We met first at the Bronx Art Space, then at BAD, and Pregones and Hosto. So we've been able to be supported by these really important organizations from the Bronx. And in each one of those meetings, we spent a lot of time really talking to each other, learning about ourselves as artists, as activists, as educators,
right,
as people, as women.
And also coming from different disciplines, which now is a great segue into Linda, because you mentioned all the organizations. I love the fact that you are definitely highlighting the institutions in the Bronx and Puerto Rico, and then there's Linda, who is a multidisciplinary artist. However, in this particular showcase, you're doing visuals through photography, right?
Yes, and also art direction. So, as Alicia mentioned, like this was a very super organic process, and I think the beauty of this whole collective was recognizing the creativity that we've done informally with just having informal discussions, and how it led from having it in those formal spaces till we hit the pandemic, then we hit virtual. And there's another visual artist that's involved, Melanie Gonzalez, who we had an unofficial dialogue starting these visual diaries, just trying to illustrate like what's happening with us or something to just keep exercising this collective. And so we started a series of visuals that was a call, a response. And once we felt comfortable, and that's the main ingredient of this whole collective is trust. Because usually I don't, as a traditional artist or in the visual world, you don't really share until the very last minute. But because it was so organic and integrating interdisciplinary, it was wonderful to share with artists like Raka and Alicia and Beatriz and Melody, Beverly as well, to just see how the visuals can influence them. And during the pandemic, we had these conversations that really illustrated spirituality, activism, solidarity, the feminine divine, and understanding how it all influenced us from our different disciplines into like a product now that your people are going to witness at Hostos next week.
Yeah, and they're going to experience it. They're going to experience it. And so I know that we're going to be giving a sneak peek based on a presentation that involves you, Rockefeller, and we primarily know you as a beat girl, but I think it's important for people to know that you also exercise different genres within the art of dance. And before you speak, unmute yourself. There you go.
Yes, and being a part of Pepatián has allowed me, we always need to allow, right? We need permission to expand and stretch, and Pepatián was one of those organizations that said, come on, Raka, what else you got? And of course, I will never let go of the breaking and the hip hop and the history, but there are other styles out there. And since the pandemic, we've been in these like squares, in these frames. I thought that it would be great for me and one of my dancers, Jennifer Beastie Acosta, to do like some of the tutting or also some of the voguing, because it's all kind of related. And it helps me also think, like, how am I in a box? How am I in a frame? How am I coming through? So we did a little bit of dance, and then it was great to merge, to fuse with Megan, who does contemporary, Beverly, and just be like together at the Bronx Clock Tower. It was a beautiful, beautiful moment outdoors, and thinking, how do they get down someplace else since we're sharing the same sky? So thank you. It was a beautiful, beautiful opportunity. I can't wait for y'all to see it.
And, you know, I like that you translated it because, you know, I'm over here just making the assumption that people understand sharing the same cielo, and cielo means sky. And also, I did want to make a note of Linda's photography because it's very nature driven, even though you have the aesthetics of technology or let's say the metropolitanness of New York, right? So there's that balance of like.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
It's complementing the biculturalism that is in our diaspora, reflecting that. And I also would like to mention La Bruja, Caridad, who was also influential. Her poetry is, and her Pepatianness was also felt, as well as Roslyn, who was another wonderful poeta. And it's just an amazing fusion and wonderful representation of the diaspora in the Bronx and crossing waters and the skies.
Okay, so I just wanted to, you know, I went into my vision, right? And I'm going, okay, wait a minute. So Caridad de la Luz, La Bruja, she's going to be reciting poetry with the imagery and the dancing. Like, is that what this fusion is?
Yes, she has.
That's amazing.
Yes, it is just, yeah. We're very excited. It's three videos that will be broadcasted throughout the month of June, starting June 4th, June 11th, and June 18th. And it's a different element every time, but it's always nature-based. It's the concrete with the nature, with us, and the influences that make us who we are as a beautiful botanica. And I also want to give a shout out to Pepón Osorio, who is the visual part of Pepatián, who's very influential in some of my work.
So I'm looking at a paper here that it just mentions that everyone who is part of this collaboration has had some involvement with Pepatián, like 30 years of works and arts in the culture in the Bronx. And some of the dance artists include Marian Soto, Noemi Segarra Ramirez, of course, you, Rockefeller Alicia, Caridad de la Luz, which we mentioned, Linda, you, Beatriz Capote, Megan Curet, Melanie Gonzalez, and Beverly Lopez. I just wanted to make sure that everybody gets acknowledged because not everyone is here in the Bronx either, because Caridad de la Luz is in Puerto Rico. And I also understand that she's editing, or as well as Melanie's editing. So this is like a nice mosh posh of just exercising and expanding on artistry. It sounds so delicious.
One of the beautiful things that we're able to do in this project is the idea that the sky, that the cielo was really expansive, right? And so in the first video, we were thinking of, but always coming back to the Bronx, right? So the Bronx is always the center. And the first video then features the Bronx artists. And then myself, I am in Richmond, Virginia, actually, and Beatrice is in Indiana. And Beatrice is co-facilitator as well with me. So in that one, we have this conversation, and we thought of it as offerings, like what can we offer from afar as healing and towards all of us and the Bronx in particular. So we were thinking a lot actually about Ochun and the rivers and connecting the river in Richmond and Indiana with the Bronx River back to the Bronx. So the first one plays a lot with that. The second one, we have the opportunity to connect with the artists in Puerto Rico. And so in the second one is where Marian Soto and Noemi Segarra then offer other offerings to the Bronx, right, through their work, and is edited again through Caridad. And the third one is really a combination of all of us together. And so that is a big sharing of the cielo. And that's the one that Melanie will be editing. And so it's really, we're all three evenings are connected, but they're all also different, right?
Beautiful. Oh my gosh, I'm looking forward to it. And I hope you guys are looking forward to it. Thank you, ladies, for sharing your thoughts and your talents. Yes, the BX is in the house, putting up the hearts for you, Rockefeller. And wow, this sounds like an experience that is not to be missed. It sounds like virtual dancing, and it's called Sharing the Same Cielo. The video series will be presented tonight at Hosto Center for the Arts and Culture at 7:30 p.m. And for more information on the other upcoming performances, please visit Pepatián.org. All right, don't go anywhere, because when we return, we're going to give you a sneak peek of Pepatián's Sharing the Same Cielo. Welcome back. Let's take a sneak peek at Pepatián's Sharing the Same Cielo. Oh man, that was divine, traveling through the sky. Woo. All right, so Sharing the Same Cielo, the video series will be presented tonight and June 11th and June 18th at Hosto Center for the Arts and Culture at 7:30 p.m. And for other ways to view it via Zoom, all you gotta do is visit hostoscenter.org. All right, that is our show today, mi gente. Thanks to all our guests for coming through, and to you, our viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, you can check out the recablecast tonight, 24 hours a day at BronxNet.tv. I'm Rhina Valentin, and from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide paz, prosperity, y amor. Adios.